Welcome back. This is Amanda with Molly Cole Creations. It is back to school time and we are getting ready for it. Let's go. Okay, for this project we are making 2 back to school, like first day of school signs for me to take first day of school pictures with my kids. I got 2 because I have 2 going into the 2nd grade. I wanted to find some chalkboards. I could not find any chalkboards at a decent size anyhow. I didn't want it so huge, I didn't want it teeny. Wanted one that they could just kind of hold out in front of them. So I found these wood signs from Hobby Lobby. They were like $4.99 and 40% off, so pretty good price. This one, I'm going to have to glue that middle in. You can see it's come loose, so, but that's alright. So I am making them double-sided and using, it's actually chalkboard paint by Folkart. Not that I am intending really to use actual chalk on these, but maybe someday I will. I don't know. So I have the paint anyway, and it gives nice coverage also. So I start painting one of the sides and I get a little ways into it and realize I'm probably just going to make a mess with this. And so I figure I better get out some tape and tape around those edges. So I was just either going to mess up the frame, which I didn't want to do, or I had to go get a smaller brush, and I didn't want to do that either. Y'all, it was late. It was probably like 11 o'clock at night when I was doing this, and I don't know. I didn't want to do tape. I didn't want to use a different brush, but I settled with taping it. So I tape off the frames on both sides of both frames. And then I can finish up with the painting and make sure that it is nice and neat, keeping that framed part nice and clean. And it was just an extra step, but it's alright. Sometimes you gotta do it. Get all of that done, and our next step is, while these dry, we are going to hop over into Cricut Design Space, and I will show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so we are starting out in Cricut Design Space. As I said, we have just a blank canvas, and you can see kind of over there on the side I had already done a little bit of searching and looking to get ideas. First things first, we are starting out with a shape. So I grabbed a square from the shape section, and I have unlocked so that I can change it to the size of my frame, which mine is 7.5 by 9. I'm just going to leave it that color because it kind of looks like a chalkboard. We're not cutting that out with vinyl. It's just for placement purposes and for sizing. Now I have gone into images and I've typed in flag banner. So I kind of had an idea of what I wanted, and it took me a few minutes to find the one I wanted, but this is the one. It's kind of got like some loopy ends, which I just thought was cute. So I am going to change the color of this. I know that I am going to make my daughter's pink and my son's red. Red is his favorite color right now. As far as this goes, I unlock it so that I can manipulate the proportion of it. I wanted to scoot it up a little bit and obviously make it fit in our square. Now I am grabbing the text. So you just click on text, you type what you want it to say. I'm doing first day of, and then I'm going to do my lettering in white vinyl. So I changed that to white. Now you can select your font. I don't know about y'all, but it takes me a hot minute to select a font. So I had already kind of looked through them and played with it so that I don't sit here on the recording for an hour trying to figure it out. So I had bookmarked it so that I remembered. I also can't ever remember names of fonts. I'm terrible about that. So I have adjusted it, and I'm kind of sizing it up a little bit. Now you can manipulate your text as well. You just have to be careful that you don't do it too much and that it looks weird. Now see how this font is very thin? Sometimes that doesn't cut well with vinyl. So I'm giving this an offset. A very small offset, mind you. I think it was 0.014 is what I selected. And that just thickens your lettering up a bit so it's easier to read. Now I am going to write in all capitals, 2nd grade. And I am going to change the font on this to a more, well, it's just a print, not a cursive, but kind of just a playful font that I liked. And we're doing the very same thing. Changing it to white, we're going to give it an offset, and you click up on the offset, it will have saved the 0.014 that I used for the first day of, and that way we can thicken them both up. And then you just hit apply and you pull off. We are saving those originals though. One thing to keep in mind, when you do an offset on any text, you can no longer change it. Like I wouldn't be able to go back in and change the font or the wording, like if I wanted to change what it said. You can't do any of that once you put an offset on it. So I always save the originals in case there is something I need to change. Now I am just lining them up. You shift and click and then go up to align, and I am just centering them the best that I can so that I can cut the first day of and 2nd grade together. So they'll basically be already lined up for me. So I am just getting that where I think it'll look good on our actual frame. And you know, at this point you're just kind of playing with maybe sizing and spacing just a little bit. Sometimes you can kind of obsess over that and it just feels like you maybe should have just left it, you know, where it was to begin with. Okay, so next thing that we need to do is make the other side of our sign. So I am pulling off that first day of, because remember we can't alter that because we made it an offset. So this is why we save our original, and all I'm doing is changing it to say last day. And doing the same thing, putting that same offset on it, saving the original off to the side, and then I will play around with the placement and getting it all centered up once again, and making sure that this side is going to look just as good as the first. And then you're going to, what I'm going to do is duplicate all of this twice, basically, like other than the flags. I'm going to do, well, yeah, the flags too. 2 in the pink, 2 in the red. And then I'm going to do 2 first day of 2nd grade, 2 last day of 2nd grade. Now, if you had kids, most kids, you know, most of the time they're not in the same grade as siblings, unless you have twins. But then you will go ahead and make these changes to whatever grade they're entering. So we are done. Now I am just, as I said, duplicating the flags, making sure that I attach. You want to attach the last day of 2nd grade together so it cuts exactly how you have it laid out right there. and that makes it really simple for placing onto the sign. So that is pretty much it. Just gonna finish that up, and we are gonna be ready to hit make it, and it will print out in probably, I'm using a 12 by 12 mat, so I'll probably have to cut the lettering twice, and then obviously the flags will be in different colors. So it'll be a few cuts, but that's okay. And then I will meet you back over here with our signs that have dried, and I'll show you how we put them all together. Okay, so I got everything cut, and I am just gonna get it weeded. The white is a little tricky to read, of course, and probably pretty hard for you guys to see on camera. It's hard for me to see like in real life, but the stuff does read pretty nicely. It's an off-brand that I ordered from Amazon, and I actually really like it. I don't know the brand. I'd have to look at the label if there is one, but anyways, I just needed some in a pinch one day and was already placing an order and added some vinyl to it. So I love when that happens. And it was cheap. I got a big roll of it, so I'm good on white vinyl for a bit. So I'm gonna get the first day of second grade, I'm gonna weed both signs and both sides. And then I'm gonna grab some transfer tape and we'll get them put on there. See how cute these turn out. I'm so super excited. Just finishing up weeding our cute little flag banners, and then I'm going to grab my transfer tape and get these cut apart so that I can place them on the sign. And one thing I will note, and had it not been so late at night, I maybe would have thought to do it, is this chalkboard paint in a couple of areas, and it wasn't bad, luckily, I got lucky. The transfer tape did pull up that paint. So it should have probably been sealed. But not only did I not think about it until I noticed it, and at that point it was too late. So next year, before I put the new vinyl on, because I think I told you I'm just going to peel off second grade every year, and or whatever's on it from the year prior, and put the next grade on. So they'll have the same little sign throughout their coming years, unless I change my mind and just want something entirely different, because that could happen too. Doesn't that look so cute? And I can't tell. I guess it'll probably depend on how big of a screen you're watching on. But you can see that it tore off just a titch of that chalkboard paint, which is a bummer. But, oh well, it happened. And I'm not doing anything about it right now, obviously, since I just keep going. And we're going to get the lettering on there, the text, and I'm just eyeballing it. It was a pretty tight fit when I was designing it in Cricut Design Space, so I wasn't terribly worried about measuring, but that would probably also be something good to do, just not something that I did. So, but it looks pretty good. It's probably not spot on centered, but it's pretty good, at least to my eye. But I think that this turns out so adorable. I will take pictures of both of them complete. I'm not going to show you or watch you make you watch me make both of them, or even all four sides. They're all identical. And I do the same exact steps, and it's pretty self-explanatory anyway, right? But I will take pictures of them complete, and then, of course, I will snap some pictures on our first day of second grade. When do y'all's kids go back to school? I feel like August is so early, but I should be used to it. We've lived here a while. When I was growing up, I grew up in California. We didn't go back till like September, mid-September, I think. But ours are heading back later in the week, and I have a few other back-to-school projects that I'm going to do, and I will probably film, but I think I'm going to put this one out just in case you want to get it done before the first day. Not all the back-to-school stuff has to be done for the first day, but first day of school pictures are a pretty big deal. So just giving you some ideas on what you can do. There's plenty of other back-to-school signs that moms make for their kids, and I think the Dollar Tree even has one that you can kind of fill in that is Chalkboard. It has more details. I kept this one just super simple, something that I can easily store, and something that we can easily reuse year after year, even if they change their mind. Oh, I don't like pink anymore, Mom. Well, we can make it purple. We can make it whatever you want. But it's just a really fun way to celebrate them the morning of their big day. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making it. I have a few more back to school little projects that I want to do, just some really simple ones. Okay, taking a break from the Cricut for a little bit. I made another one of these boxes, and I didn't film it because I already made an identical one. And this one I made for, like, I don't know what that bird's doing there. Utensils and things. And I put handles on this one like this. I think I'm going to do handles different for their box. This one is slightly different, but it's the same idea. So I can link that video if you want to make your own. Otherwise, you know, I think you can buy these just about anywhere. Okay. So then I got, where are they? These from Hobby Lobby. My daughter opened the package. Oh, I'm not sure. These little stickers, and I know they make some that are iron-on. These ones happen to be stickers. Aren't those cute? But if you're gonna buy them, get them when they're 40% off. They weren't super cheap, especially if you buy them like by the letter. Like, I think one letter is like $3.99 or something, and this whole thing, I want to say I probably wouldn't have paid more than $5 or $6 for, just because I know myself. But what I'm going to do is paint it and kind of make it look cute, and then I'm going to put this on, and then I have a massive bucket with all their markers, and I'm going to go through and figure out which ones are still good, which ones aren't, and then I got them some new markers. So I'm just going to kind of fill this up with their new, or with the good markers, and throw away the rest. So that's where we're going to start. I'm going to paint it white first, and then I'm going to go from there. Okay, so I'm just giving this a quick, probably 2 coats of this white paint, and I'm going to do all 4 sides. I'm probably not going to worry about the bottom, and I'll probably do the insides just really lightly. I'm not going to try to get into every like nook and cranny of those little you know, cube separators the dividers, I guess I should say. But I am probably going to give it couple of coats, and then we are going to put the cute touches on it and finish it up. Okay, I got this painted. It's mostly dry. And then I just picked out like a few fun colors. I'll probably throw in like maybe a yellow. And I'm going to do like some little polka dots. These are the two sizes. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the small size, smaller. And I'm just gonna kind of randomly put polka dots all over the front, the back, and the sides, and then we'll put this on, and then we'll fill their markers back up. All right, so I am just getting my paint ready on this little random paper plate that I've had sitting around. And I'm using one of these yellow sponge brushes for the polka dots. I'm putting polka dots on this. I can't remember if I said that or not. And I'm just gonna try to randomly place them, try not to overthink it, and just make it look, I don't know, just cute. I just want it to look cute, that's all. Sometimes when I overthink these kinds of things, I end up ruining it or putting too much on or overdoing it. So I'm going to try not to do that. And one thing that I didn't think about, this wasn't well planned, obviously. I only have one of these little sponge brushes in this particular size. And I'm not about to go wash it out and wait for it to dry for each color. So I end up having to use, and fortunately, I'm not putting a lot of paint on the brush. And so I just use a dry paper towel and kind of dab off the excess of paint before I move on to the next color. Second thing I should have done better is done all the blue on all four sides, all the purple on all four sides. I started with the front and then realized I have to clean my brush over and over. So the two sides and the back, I end up doing all at the same time. But yes, this could have been executed better, that's for sure. But in the end, it does work out, and it turns out really fun. It's cute. I mean, it's kind of busy, but my kids absolutely love it. I did give it like a clear coat. I know this is going to get banged around. I know it's going to get marked up. It's going to have heavy wear and tear, and that is okay. We are okay with that. Okay, so all the polka dots have dried on all four sides. I put that clear coat on it. I let that dry, and I just used a spray to clear coat it. Nothing fancy. And now I'm going to put these little letters on and try to get them straight as I can, and decide that I probably better measure it. And so I'm getting my ruler. Even then, I still kind of struggle to get it all perfect, but it does end up looking really, really good. It's definitely not perfect, but these are actually, these stickers, I was thinking I may have to add additional adhesive. So far, no. These are like way, way sticky. And I had to even like pry them off my finger a couple of times. So these are very sticky so far. Now, will they stand the test of time and with two little kids with their hands all over it and markers and all the things? We'll see. But from what I can tell, they are very sticky, and that's a good thing. So I didn't add anything, and as I said, time will tell. But this does take me just a few minutes to kind of line it up, put it in the middle, and then make sure the edges, you know, that I have the same amount of space on each side. And I was wishing this was more like transfer tape, where I could just place it all down at once, you know, like you can vinyl. That would have been amazing. But it isn't quite like that. You actually have to peel each one up, respace it, and then stick it back down. These are so fun. They're just an added little embellishment, unnecessary. In fact, you could absolutely do this with vinyl and just cut letters out of different color vinyl, and that would be just as cute. I just already had these. In fact, I've had them for months, and figured it was time to make some good use out of them. Okay, so these are just little pencil, I guess they call it a binder pouch. And these are just from the Dollar Tree, nothing special. They both picked the one that they wanted. And so this is super easy and super quick. We're just going to personalize, put something on them both. I don't know whether they will even take these to school necessarily, or keep some of their little school supplies at home with them. But either way, we're going to get them personalized, and we're going to go back into Cricut Design Space, and I'll show you how I did it. Again, it's super simple. This is an easy one. So let's hop over there and get it done. Okay, so here we are once again in Cricut Design Space, and you guessed it, we are starting with our shapes. So I am first creating my daughter's bag, which is the little pink striped one. So I am putting in the measurements for her bag. Now I have already selected the font, and I am using it's a font I use all the time. It's called Sweetie Almira. I have added her name, and once again we are working on the offset feature. So in this case, we're actually using the offset not just to thicken it, but for also aesthetic purposes. So we are making a bit of a thicker offset than we do when we're just trying to thicken the lettering a little bit. Now, what I don't want on this offset are some of those little holes. So I am going over to Contour and taking those out. Super simple. So you click on the items you don't want, and then you click out of it, and it takes those off of your image. Now I am lining those up just how I see fit. Now, Sweetie Almira font has something they called extras, or some people call them glyphs. And Sweetie Almira is a paid font, so it may not be something that you have access to unless you purchase it. But you can find other fonts that do have glyphs or extras that are free over at dafont.com. Now the extras, it's hard for me to tell what is what without typing out the alphabet. And so it seems silly, but I'm literally typing the alphabet right now because each letter has a corresponding extra per se, if that makes sense. And I know there's one that I want to use, but I just couldn't remember. And lo and behold, it's Z. Are you kidding? You think I can't remember that? Anyway, that's the one I wanted, and it is Z. So hopefully, if I ever want to use it again, I'll remember for next time. I am just going to go ahead and group those and hide them in case, for whatever reason, I might need them again. Then I won't have to type that whole alphabet. Now, what I want to do is stretch this little extra, or little heart with the little squiggles, throughout her name. So I'm going to unlock the dimensions and the measurements on this so that I can stretch it and pull it how I like. And I'm going to push it through her Y, but I want it to look more connected rather than like it's cutting through the Y, if that makes any sense. So I am going to weld and make these all one shape, essentially. Now, before I did that, I did duplicate the little heart so that I can put the same offset on it as I did for the Molly in the white offset. And then we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to put it all together just so I am making sure that everything is lined up the same on both layers before I weld the two white together. So there, that looks pretty good. I'm just kind of sizing it up. Now I'm selecting them both, going over to combine and weld. And you see there is that one little piece that I'm going to get rid of, a couple of them. So I'm going back into contour and I'm going to select those pieces. And those are now gone. So what we have is a background. Now where her bag is like kind of clear and striped, it is the reason I'm doing this. It's not necessary. You could totally just do one layer, but this is just the way I am choosing to do it. And it's getting us a chance to use that offset feature and get to know it a little bit better. So moving on, we are going to do my son's. Grabbing another square, we are going to change the dimensions, so we are unlocking. And we are putting in the measurements for his bag. Changing it to white because it is also clear. I had pre-selected a font. You all know my font dilemma in life. It takes me longer than an average person to pick out fonts. So I do that before videos. I am typing in his name. Now, Finnegan recently got a new skateboard for his birthday, and he is suddenly very, very interested in skateboarding. So I thought it would be fun to add a little skateboard to his bag. So I went over to images, searched for skateboard. This was one of the first ones on the list, and it's perfect. It's simple, easy to cut, and that is what we're looking for. I'm going to change it to red. That is the color vinyl I am going to use for his. And what do you know it? Once again, we are going to put an offset on this. We are going to make his offset black, which it automatically comes in as black anyways. And so this is super simple. Isn't that going to be so cute on his red pencil bag? So we are finished with this. How quick and easy. You could do these on folders. You could do them on binders. You could do this on their little pencil boxes. This can be done and duplicated for all kinds of school projects, not just the pouches. Just resize, and there you have it. We are clicking Make It. You can see I do have 4 different cuts to make. They have separated by color. We are going to go ahead and select premium vinyl. We are just using regular permanent vinyl. And we are back at my desk, and I have already weeded everything, and it was a pretty easy job of weeding. I just did it off camera because that's quicker, and you can only watch somebody weed so many times, right? So we're going to get started on applying these, and there are 2 ways you could go about this. Maybe even 3 ways. You could use the parchment paper method, which we haven't done on this channel, but we can at some point. You could layer the top layer onto the white layer, the offset, and then apply it to the pencil pouch. Or you could just apply them one at a time, which I think is the route that I am going to go in this case. So I'm just peeling back just a bit of our transfer paper, just to give it a bit of a lip or a pull tag back there. And then we release the rest of it. And we're just going to trim that down. These pencil pouch bags are super sticky. So this vinyl is going to stick very well to this. So we do need to be careful when applying it. There will probably be no pulling it off once we are done. So I'm going to kind of line it up where I want it, make sure my bag is straight. Now, since we did use our shape and design space, we have a fairly good idea. There isn't going to be a whole lot of room for error when placing this. So that is what's helpful about being very careful in design space on your placement and lining up and measurements and things. So we got this first layer down. There are a couple of bubbles, it looks like, but those will absorb, and that's okay. It's not going to bother me. Then we're going to go ahead and get her cute little pink one. We are starting with the largest piece first so that we can reuse our transfer tape over and over. That's just another thing I like to do if I'm working with several vinyl transfers or decals. Start with your biggest first so that you can just trim down as you go if you need to. So you can just use that piece over and over and over. So now you can see kind of why I chose to do the offset. It really makes her actual name in the pink stand out. I wouldn't have done it maybe if her bag was a solid color and not striped or clear. But I think it's adorable. She's gonna love it, and that's really all that matters. I did get a little wonky right there. So that maybe could have been avoided. I don't know, had I done had I layered this first before applying it. You never know. But it's a fairly easy fix. I'm just gonna pull it up and place it how it ought to be. But sometimes that happens. We just have to do a little bit of repair, a little bit of surgery. It'll be fine. Now on to my son's, and we are using that same transfer tape and just cutting it down, trimming. It's going to stick just as well as hers did. I am just going to kind of line his up with the skateboard and make sure I have it where I want. Get that little skateboard on there, the offset portion, and the black on his is just, again, just to kind of make things stand out. Just a little bit more. Totally not necessary. I just like how it looks. And we're getting his name put on there and releasing that. And then we will finish this up. We don't know yet what their teacher has requested. We will find out on back to school night whether they need these kinds of things in the classroom or at school, or if this will just be more kind of something for them to keep at home with some supplies in. But either way, I mean, they're gonna make plenty of use out of it. And the final step is just getting this first, or the top layer of his little skateboard. And these turned out really cute. I'm very happy with them. And so easy. Come on. All right, so I have one last thing to do with you on this video. It's not so much a project, but it is something I need to get done. We have our morning checklist and nighttime checklist. We do one for the summer and one for the school year. So they obviously are different. I'm using Canva. I don't know if y'all have used it yet, or if you already have been using it. I use it probably every day for one thing or another. They do have a free version that enables you to do quite a bit with, although eventually, after using the free version for a little while, I did decide to upgrade. My version is paid. I believe it's $14.95 a month or something along those lines. And the reason I upgraded was it does give me more features, but primarily it allows me to create SVGs. And that was one of the bigger reasons for why I am using the paid version now. As you can see, I have done a million things with it. I use it for the kids' school. I use it, these are all like images that I import and turn into SVGs for projects. You can use them in Cricut. I use them for my laser cutter. I did a Halloween party last year. You know, there's just a lot of, you can make stickers. I made return, like, address for our Christmas cards. You know, just all the things. And there are many different programs. This isn't your only option, but just wanted to put that out there, that this is a great program. Very easy to use. I'm just going to briefly kind of go through this one with you because I don't know that anyone is all that interested in learning to use Canva. But if it is something that anyone is more interested in and more detailed, we can go through and do maybe something from start to finish. Kids' birthday party, which was really cute. They just had their party just a couple weeks ago. And I made their little invite with it. So there's just a lot of cute things that you can do with it. So for this one, we are going to get started. I will show you their summer ones. Where is their summer? Oh, it's right here. So for this summer, we made a bucket list, basically of all the fun things we wanted to do together this summer. And then they had their checklist. Let's see, I don't know. So that's the bucket list and their summer checklist. It's just things that I want them to do each day. Some of them obviously wake up, right? These are very simple. I am going to continue to use the pictures this year, even though they are reading now. It's just a quicker, make a connection with the picture, and it helps them with the words. These are identical for the most part. There are a couple of different things that they each have to do, but for the most part, they're about the same. So these are the summer ones, and then I print them off and I put them in plastic envelopes and hang them on my fridge. I will throw up a picture of that. So you can kind of get an idea. Now I already pulled up, so this is Molly's nighttime checklist from last year. I couldn't find her daytime, so I'm just using some of the elements that I already have, kind of using the same format. Now I kind of already got started just so I had a kind of an idea of the direction I wanted to go as far as how I wanted it to look visually. Now, how you go about all of these designs is you can go up into the design and you can type in like checklist or morning. And if there's just certain elements that you like, you can pull from, even if it's not exactly what you're looking for, you can pull from it. So if I wanted just the certain word, I could copy and paste it onto my document and just use that. So here I am starting, I'm just typing in morning. And they show all kinds of morning type images. And then I saw this cute word that just said morning. So I went ahead and added that. And then I did add a little sun. And then I thought a rainbow would be cute. And the rainbow you can change. All I did was kind of lighten the clouds, but you could change all the colors of that rainbow if you wanted a different shade of orange, a different shade of red. I'm just showing you how you can do that. Now, as far as her name and checklist, I did select a font I am familiar with. Now, Canva has thousands of fonts, and if you guys know, I already have a font problem because I can never pick. So I try to use ones that I am already familiar with so that I don't spend so much time looking and searching for just that perfect font. So in this case, we have chosen a font that I know I can put a special effect on. So I clicked on effects, and now I can change the different colors and do kind of a fun outline which I did with both her name and the word checklist. And that just gives it a little bit more visual interest, I guess. And the little boxes I just pulled from another checklist that was already there, and then I just kind of changed up the colors and aligned them. That would be a little bit more of a detailed tutorial, but we could do that sometime if anyone was interested. So I'm just kind of showing you, you can just pull things from all kinds of different already designed templates or go into their elements, which this primarily is what we're going to use for this. I'm going to think of the things they need to do, and we'll start with waking up. They already are going to wake up anyhow, but that's just a nice way to start the checklist. So I type in wake up, and I kind of scroll around. I look for, this one's for my daughter, so I'm looking for like a little girl waking up. And I'm kind of silly, so I always try to find one that kind of like matches her hair color. And sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. But either way, I select this little girl who's just stretching and waking up in bed. And then I go ahead and shrink that down. And once you get all of your elements on, I think I have 9 on my list that I came up with. Once I get all of those in or on my sheet here, I will have to do a lot more like moving things around and shrinking or enlarging just to make sure everything lines up properly with those little boxes. As I said before, these are going to go into those clear plastic envelopes. They will hang on my fridge, and we also have dry erase markers that have magnets, and so those also sit on the fridge. So once they get something done, they know to come and just check it off, and then they know kind of what's coming up next. My kids don't start school until 9:15 here, and they get up early. So we actually have a fair amount of time in the morning where we are not rushing around. We can take our time to eat, and I don't have to rush them, and they're kind of stragglers, so telling them to get their shoes on can sometimes even take several minutes. So I'm just going to keep searching. I'm looking for a backpack so they know to get their backpack ready. Make sure that they put their folder back in. It reminds mom that I need to put their lunchbox in if they're taking home lunch that day. Fill up their thermoses with their water. Just all the things that we need to do to get their backpack ready. And then at that point, they will be heading to school, and when they get home from school, they'll have a couple of things before we start kind of our evening or nighttime checklist. As far as homework and chores, I do put that kind of on the evening one. So I'm just going to keep going here, sorting out all the different things I want to highlight on the morning. And I'm just going to speed things up even a little bit more so this doesn't carry on. This will, between both of theirs and the morning and the night, I'll probably work on this for about the next hour or so, but I'm just going to speed it up and cut some of it out so that you don't have to watch all of it. I'm just going to keep searching, looking for the little elements, the details, and the images that I want. And sometimes, I can't remember if I said it earlier, it does kind of vary on how you type it in to what they'll show you. So if you type something in and you don't exactly see kind of what you're looking for, maybe try phrasing it a different way. And sometimes they just simply don't have it. If you have your heart set on something, you can always Google it and upload it, download it to your computer, upload it to Canva. I'm usually just okay to settle with whatever they have. Usually they have what I'm looking for. Anyhow, I am just finishing up their little to-dos, adding in some playtime, adding in, when my kids come home, their backpacks drop and their shoes get thrown and socks get strewn across, and it drives me crazy. Their backpacks go on a hook, so I hang those for them, and they're in charge of their shoes, socks, coats, anything like that. But I'm just using a little pair of shoes to remind them to put their stuff away. They get a snack and they get to play, and that's kind of the end of the morning routine. And I'm just here, you can see I'm just fiddling around with measuring or with the lining it up correctly, making sure the boxes line up across from them. And you could do this all day long, I swear. Anytime I think it looks perfect and I'm like, oh no wait, and then I mess with it, and then it goes on and on. We are starting with the actual words here. I had an idea of the font I wanted to use. I thought it was called kindergarten. It's not. It's called like penmanship. It's just a really easy font for the kids to read, and I use it quite often with their stuff because there's nothing fancy and everything's written, like the letters are all done correctly, and it just is easier for them to recognize since they can read, but they're still learning. So this is just the easiest part, and of course now I have to realign everything, and that's just a never-ending task if you let it. So at some point you just gotta let it be as it is. And that's all we're gonna do here. And then I'm going to do Finn's. His will be 100 times quicker because I'm just going to copy and paste and change a few things. And that's it. The nighttime one will be fairly simple since I kind of have the idea of the style that I'm going for, but we'll still need to do a little work on that. Okay, so that one is finished. Now I'm just going to add a page. Essentially, I am copying and pasting and then changing, obviously, his name. And then I'm going to go through, and the only difference in their two checklists are I do change up the icons or the images just a little bit, as all of Molly's are kind of girl, or the two of them, then I am changing all of his to be kind of boyish. The one for eating breakfast, I did change to both of theirs because I found a cute one with a little boy and girl eating together, and they do eat breakfast together every morning, so I thought that would be cute. But otherwise, their two checklists are identical, and I'm just going to get his finished up, and then our morning checklist will be pretty much complete. I usually add some sort of like positive message or something along those lines, just for them to see something positive every day. So I will add something like that to this one, and then I will do something similar for their nighttime. But I hope that this was somewhat enjoyable or helpful, and that if you do want to hear more about Canva, let me know. By the way, this is not sponsored. I just really like Canva. So I am not being paid or sponsored to say any of this. It's just a program that I like. And if y'all are using something different that kind of works the same, let me know what it is and I'll check it out. Okay, so we got all of our stuff printed. This is just the lunch menu. Our school has it online, but I don't like looking it up every morning, and I can't remember. My kids are just really picky, so there's only certain lunches they will even eat at the school. So that's gonna go in one of them. And I'll just update that on Sundays. For the week, and then I can also put in, like, we don't have school on the 4th. I think that's Labor Day. And then we have fall pictures, so I can just update that, write any little notes that I need to remember if we need to bring something extra to school, or something else is going on. So that's that one. Super simple. And then Molly uses this orange one. So I'm going to put her morning in. All these have been used. And put her nighttime on the back. And it's going to be easier to do it like this. And same thing for Finn. That's how I didn't really show you the nighttime. Those are how the nighttimes turned out. Really cute, right? Yep. We just use little clips like these. They're magnets. So I just hook them. And these are the markers. They also are magnet. And they have little erasers too. So we are all set and ready for the new school year to begin. So that is it today, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. I am excited for school to start. I am nervous, but it is such a fun time of year, and bring on fall, right? These are all the end pictures, my kids' first day. They look so cute. I love the signs. I absolutely love them. And bonus, we get to use them. We already are ready for the last day of second grade. So that is so fun. And they thought it was awesome. They're cute little pencil pouches that we did. Turned out really cute. And we did our marker box. Love how fun this one turned out. But thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Don't forget to subscribe and like on your way out. And we will see you all very soon. Thanks so much.